We'll call the Tremont Planning Board meeting of September 13th, a Tuesday, to order at 6 p.m. Roll call, we have Lawson Wilson, new dad. Glad to see that he was able to make it.
Glad to be here.
Beth Gott, Jeff Young, myself, Mark Good, Code Enforcement Officer John Larson. And Brett has informed us that he has work duties and won't be able to make it tonight, so I'll take a motion to excuse his absence.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second to excuse Brett Witham's absence for tonight. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Yep.
Aye.
Unanimous? Okay. Minutes. What I noticed about the minutes is only Beth and I were, Beth, myself, and Brett were at the meeting. Brett's not here. So we don't really have a quorum of members who attended. So I'll take a motion to table the minutes until our next meeting, September 27th.
So moved.
Is it okay if
I guess you'll have to
Jeff
second
and I
it.
second it? Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, motion and second on the table to table the minutes, approval of the minutes from August 23rd until our next meeting, September 27th. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, okay. Go to the regular meeting now. John put this on because we did, as you all know, we had discussed solar energy arrays, commercial solar energy arrays, and whether to develop standards for them. And we had had some folks from A Climate to Thrive, Beth Woolfolk, come in and talk to us about it, and she let us know that the grid over here is rather inadequate at this time for large-scale commercial arrays, but that could change at some point, so there's no big hurry, I guess, to jump on a bandwagon and get something done. I think what we decided, or what we talked about, was we're not really concerned about standards for home owners or business owners putting it on their own rooftops or their own property. It's what we're concerned about are the larger commercial arrays and developing some standards for them or not. And one concern was, although we applaud the environmental nature of using this type of energy, we're concerned about clear cutting, or other loss of valuable land. And we discussed a public hearing. So I don't know what else we want to discuss tonight. I don't think there's much to discuss. We could set the public hearing, I would suggest October 25th. I know we like the Bar Harbor standards, and so that gives people something to look at. And
I guess, Mark, one possibility would be, maybe we need a public hearing before we can make this recommendation, but is it, like, the Bar Harbor standards that John sort of,
put it in our ordinance.
drafted a version of that in, would permit solar arrays. And I guess I just want to, and I know at one meeting it was you, Beth, and myself talking about it, and Jeff and Brett were not here.
Right.
And I guess I just want to put on the table that another option would be to prohibit large-scale solar arrays. And do we want to make that determination, or that, like, is the public hearing about prohibiting or about permitting?
Well,
Or is it more open than that?
to me, that's the first question to ask at the public hearing.
Okay.
Do we want them or not? I know Jeff and Brett both mentioned, or
Yeah,
raised that question initially.
Other meetings, yes.
Yeah. And whether that land is more valuable for other uses. I also looked at the Nate Audubon siting tool that Beth Woolfolk mentioned. It only shows one site in Tremont. the pit on the ticket.
It won't happen.
It shows that as viable.
Yeah,
large-scale
that's the
solar.
only viable large sale, I guess, I don't know the standards they
Right.
apply on.
Yeah, no, it won't happen there.
Got an inside track to the.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you know somebody involved with that? So, yeah, so, I don't know, what are your thoughts?
I just think if an individual business wants to do it to help their business, or an individual wants to do it to help their cost for the home, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I do not believe that the town of Tremont should have a large-scale commercial solar farm.
Right. How about this? How about municipal wise? Could that be an exception? I mean, we already have it out here and they're talking about expanding it.
Well, I mean, it's already there, so would it be grandfathered to expand it, or no?
I don't know. It was never approved, so.
Oh.
Well, in the town, does the town need planning board approval to do?
Absolutely.
I think yes.
So is it going to
They would be
the
structures,
landfill?
so. Under the
Increase the
definition of
landfill?
structures, so
Well,
it would have to be
There's a lot
something. Yeah.
behind it
behind it?
that belongs to Rich.
We have
A
a,
7-acre parcel back there.
we have a school to think of too.
Pardon?
We have a school as well.
Yeah, the
The
school,
school's already on it.
yeah.
Yeah, but
And
could
the school-
could they put more on for other purposes?
At the school
At the
site,
school site?
um,
What is the status?
well, some of it, the school property is Acadia National Park.
But did that change?
No.
So,
No.
it didn't change quite the way it should have, in
Okay.
my mind. But that's a discussion for another day, okay?
Yeah.
So, I don't know exactly where the lines are right now, so,
I think municipalities and schools would fall in the same category of business.
yeah, well, that's part of the town, so I consider it as part of the municipality. And also, they could put them on the roof there, like they did at the high school.
Right.
So
So-
in terms
so
of.
Mark-
Go ahead.
If we had if we notice a public hearing, what would the wording be of the notice? Not to draft it here now, but what message do we deliver in that notice? Come ye, hear about solar panels, yes
I
or no?
I don't think there's much you can say in the public notice itself, but I would suggest as we get closer to the date, someone may be writing a little blurb to put up on the town website and maybe send a press release to the local newspaper. And I know somebody that might be willing to do that, but,
Wouldn't the word input be a
yeah,
good
yeah.
word to use?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to hear from the people.
Right.
It's called public comment.
It's called what?
Public comment.
Yes, good. Yep.
Yeah, public comment, I'm curious, why all these people are here tonight? For this? No?
Well, I was interested to just hear what's happening with solar, because I didn't really know.
Oh,
Okay, well, if you're not here for that, okay.
Me too, I have a roof that's perfect for solar, so I don't know.
You'll be fine, don't worry. Whatever we do, you'll be fine.
yeah.
So we're asking for public comment.
Yeah.
To sort of Jeff's point, it seems like it would be helpful if we were to say like, comment on what? But I guess we're not putting a draft out, we're not
Right,
releasing a draft ordinance or a draft change to the ordinance at this
or
stage.
suggested,
Or this is- But we're saying, we're looking for comment on ways to regulate large-scale solar, ways to incorporate commercial solar into our ordinance, I mean, like, because it seems like we would get a different crowd if we said, looking for public comment on prohibiting large-scale solar. Because some community members might hear that and say, are you kidding me? Like, I wanna put solar panels on my roof, and they come in here with their pitchforks and say, and we'd clear that up. And we'd have a different kind of reaction if we said, we're looking for ways to encourage or to allow or to promote large-scale
But-
solar.
sitting as a board at the moment, just as an informal consensus, I think if a vote was taken by this board tonight and Brett was present, we'd vote no commercial outfit. I'm not asking anyone to comment.
I think you're right.
I'm just projecting
Right.
comments I've heard from each of us. So I think if we go to, since we're already, as individuals, leaning that direction, but not necessarily board, but individuals leaning that direction, I think when we go towards language, we go towards language that leads the town to believe the discussion, but whether a black and white issue, yes or no, on commercial sites, for, and not say, you know, going further this side, anything else.
Just
It's almost-
commercial sites,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, and say, not including, so we don't get the pitchfork people here to describe, we say not including homes and businesses within the community.
Right, yeah. Just have to spell it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's all, we have to do a little outreach, I think, because you're not gonna have all that in the notice of public hearing.
Well, you could in a press release.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems, Jeff, that what you're suggesting would be a more sort of transparent way to gather the kind of feedback we're actually looking for.
Yeah.
And if the pitchforks show up, that would be useful. That would be helpful information for us to be like, oh, okay, looks like we misread the community. But
We've had enough pitchforks this year.
John, any thoughts? No?
Just have a public hearing notice that states the planning board is going to take public comment on solar array, commercial solar arrays. Leave it at that.
Yep. How did Bar Harbor define it? They had, what was their term?
photovoltaic systems, principal use.
Oh, yeah, they did, yeah, principal and
Um,
accessory use, didn't they?
Right, and then accessory use was,
Was what we're talking about on your house,
that's right.
business, yeah.
And principal use is permitted in Bar Harbor, you know.
Right.
And at this stage, it's not prohibited in Tremont. Therefore, it would be permitted, probably, under our current ordinance.
In certain zones.
Right.
Well, so that's obviously the first question to ask, Jeff. I agree with you there, but, you know, it could be a short meeting. Everybody says, no, we don't want it.
sounds like tonight.
Yeah.
I just would hate to see, I've seen them, I just would hate to see it. And
Well, look what's going on in Augusta. They got a whole nother thing going on with the 95.
Oh, yeah, we went, I hadn't been down there in a while, and we went down
Route 3.
over Labor Day weekend, and, yeah, I couldn't believe all the arrays that has popped up along the highway.
They gotta be someplace,
Yeah,
so.
On October 25th.
yeah, we have, because our first meeting in October will be Pointy Head,
Yep,
and so this would be the second meeting in October, 25th. And if we have other things we want to discuss about it, we could do that at our meeting of the 27th if we wanted.
I'll make a motion to schedule a public hearing for, to hear public comment on, should we say the prohibition of
Well,
large-scale solar,
Commercial,
of commercial solar?
commercials, yeah.
that's where, I understand why you're saying that, okay? Yeah, why not? That'll get more people here.
I mean, that's what we're considering. I think that's what's on the table. Let's be transparent about it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we get comments that are pertain to that. For the 25th at 6 p.m.
October
Okay.
25th.
20,
Restate your motion,
I make
please.
a motion to schedule a public hearing on the prohibition of large-scale commercial solar in Tremont.
25th.
Prohibition.
That's right. We're considering public comment on large-scale on the prohibition of large-scale commercial solar for 6 PM on the 25th,
Here.
here.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and second on the table to set a public hearing or schedule a public hearing for 6 PM, October 25th, here in the Harvey Kelly Meeting Room of the Town Office on the prohibition of large-scale commercial solar arrays.
That's the motion.
Okay. Any discussion?
I saw one hand up, and I'm not sure we're gonna call on you, but I'm just gonna clarify that when we say large-scale commercial solar, we're talking about 10 acres or more typically, owned, and it would be land that would be exclusively for solar, so it would be principal use. There wouldn't be a house on it or a business on it, and the solar would be sold to the grid.
Yeah, I don't know about the 10 acres.
Yeah, where's the 10
though.
acres
Yeah, the
come
10
from?
acres,
That's
because
the-
5 acres to me is too much if we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that Beth was talking about a megawatt scale
She did,
That-
10 acre.
that was,
But we don't have to have,
We don't
correct,
have to.
right, and
right.
we have not yet written the ordinance. We
Right.
don't yet know what, but I was trying to provide some context for the.
Basically,
members, but-
what I think we're trying to do is, companies like, let's say, Nexamp or something, they come and they build these big solar farms, and they sell shares or the electricity somehow, various methods to consumers. So it's that, rather than somebody like you that might put solar panels on the roof of your house to help cut your electric bill. Was that your question?
That helps a lot. I was wondering if Paradise Hardware has a large-scale
Nope.
commercial.
They have a small scale
Right.
Theirs is on the roof too.
Yeah.
roof mounted, yeah.
I won't be here October 26th. We're leaving October 15th for the year. So let me ask my question now. I know that President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act has included credits, tax credits for solar. Are you gonna help us do that?
The town has passed a program to do that.
I'm sorry, what?
The town has passed a program where Tremont will help you in addition to what the federal government will do. Call the town office, they passed it last select board meeting.
Excellent.
The planning board would not help you do
Yeah,
that.
not
okay?
us. But they will.
But somebody, if you call the town office and ask them, there is a program now that the selectmen recently adopted that will help you. And I don't know all the details, sorry.
I don't know all the
Very
details.
much. That's, obviously if I didn't get the news, other people probably didn't either.
It's just a week old, and so
Thank you.
they're still rolling it out, yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? Did we
haven't
vote
voted.
on,
No,
did we vote on that?
We're discussing.
Okay, any more discussion?
Uh,
How's-
Can I ask a couple questions?
Pardon?
Can I ask a couple questions?
Sure, why not?
Is this coming up because there's a proposed commercial solar, or are you just trying to head off?
No,
the possibility?
it's because of towns throughout Maine are looking at their land use standards and finding that they are unprepared for these things moving in. Ellsworth has, I think, has a moratorium now because of, there's a bunch of them waiting to move in up there, that sort of thing. And the concerns are safety, buffering and things like that. There's really nothing in our ordinance, other than the fact these are structures, if they're ground mounted, to, guide us at all.
I have another question. Isn't our solar task force, haven't they been working on a community solar operation on the hill where we already have the solar?
Right.
Is that part of this discussion or not?
Well, we just talked about, we thought that municipal projects, which includes the school or whatever, or the library, not that you have enough land down to the library, but that they would be exempt from the ban or prohibition.
But it is possible that phase 2 of that project might not be municipal. And if it was owned by a nonprofit, the Tremont Community Solar Association, or it was leased by that, depending on how the ordinance ended up getting written and that project would get structured, it could potentially fall under that. We've got a long way to go before that project is viable or this ordinance is written.
Well, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, the phase two, like the
Then when
expansion
did
of
the
that
town
project.
doing it, it would be,
Because the town doesn't need to generate more electricity. It's already covered by what's built there. They could lease to
lease the
another entity.
property.
and that entity would then, and there have been multiple iterations, and I actually have been involved in the most recent one, so I don't know about like how the ownership structure of phase two would work, and who would get access to that. One concept would be open to Tremont residents.
Yeah, that was my understanding, was it would be you could buy into that.
Right.
law,
Right, yeah.
rather than
That would-
having solar on your own property.
Could potentially then be thought of as a commercial project.
Right.
But we've also talked about including the concept of principal use in this ordinance, and that would be an accessory use, because it's on land where the
How many acres
town
did
office
you say?
is.
7 acres, John?
And so,
7 acres, did you say?
Yeah. So I have a problem with principal and accessory uses. If I have 50 acres and I have a house on it and I put a solar farm, are you gonna call that accessory?
if it's one parcel, but if you subdivide,
No, it's one 50.
150 acre,
So I want a 10-acre solar farm and you're gonna call it accessory.
I think that that's problematic, like, that's confusing. I think that a good lawyer could come in and argue that it is an accessory, and that the primary use is residential. And then other lawyer could come in and convince us, or try to convince us, that no, once you get to a certain number of acres, and maybe it's 10 or maybe it's 40 acres, then the house that's sitting there is no longer the primary use. I think it's confusing, and so if we get into ordinance writing, we'll want to.
That's
Well,
why
you could-
We may not have to go there, John, if we just say, we don't want the period.
And we can talk about residential solar panels for that premises and limit the energy to that premises not to be commercialized.
Yep, and for business too.
And for
Like my
business,
neighbor at the
yes,
boatyard,
I'm
he has
actually
some like.
addressing the specific issue of accessory versus principal.
Yeah.
If it's accessory, yes, but it has to be servicing that property, not other property.
But if I own two properties, and one of them has a field and the other one doesn't, can I put my solar panels on one property and have it feed my other house?
Sounds like you have a principal use of the other property.
But if my house with a field, now I want to generate twice as much electricity as that house consumes to cover my other house.
Hmm. Is your house in town?
Yeah,
Good.
but what
But
if
then
it's,
what if you
what if it's my
wanna-
friend's house?
But what if you
My
wanted to
friend-
sell that piece of property?
Yeah.
Right, and, so now I've got,
A problem.
or a commercial asset that is generating a lot of electricity. Anyway, we don't have to
I
rate
think
the
we're getting a
ordinance
little deep in
now,
the weeds here.
but
Yeah.
there are lots of layers. Did you have any other questions, Carrie?
I'm a little confused with it.
Not that we aren't.
Yeah, it just seems like if what happened on the hill over there was a commercial enterprise, are we then killing what the solar task force has been trying to create? I guess that's where I'm.
Well, you raise a good point, because I wasn't aware of, that it wasn't the town that was going to expand that.
Yeah.
We aren't doing
It
anything
was
yet.
specifically for Tremont residents to be able to buy into it.
Right.
If, let's say, their house didn't really lend itself to solar.
Certainly, that could be worked out language-wise, you could ban everything else, but allow that quasi-municipal sort of entity to do it.
I don't know, I'm just
Yeah.
Right.
asking questions.
Would- What do you think, Jeff? Would that work?
Well, it's Beth's willing to put forward the land for it. I hear it choose quite excited about it.
Yeah,
Do not, yeah.
eager.
There's panels going down on Nickaticka tonight.
Yeah, absolutely not.
You can pull grandma
Right
off
now,
underneath.
right
me,
now,
can't you?
rock's worth more to me than,
Your rock's worth more than sun.
And sun.
Rock, paper, scissors.
yeah.
Oh, I must have misunderstood you.
Okay, any more discussion? Because we do have a motion on the table before I forget about it entirely. Okay, we have a motion to schedule a public hearing for October 5th, 6 PM, here in the Harvey County Meeting Room at the Town Office on prohibition of large-scale commercial solar arrays, right?
I think we took the word large out of there.
Do we take large-scale?
I think we left large. We didn't include 10. There's no
Let's just say
number.
commercial solar
Yeah, I-
All right,
arrays.
sure, we can do that.
Because that's, saying large is sort of like saying light commercial, you know?
Yeah.
Your favorite
I'm not real comfortable with that either, so.
All right.
Can't
Yeah,
resist.
yeah, because it means there's a small scale, commercial, and then that gets into another thing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, any more discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, unanimous, 4-0.
Mark,
Yes, sir.
October 11th is Pointy Head.
Yes.
I am going to be out, I know I can't participate in the previous vote, but I am going to be out of town anyway, so there's be nothing else on that agenda, correct? You're just dedicating Pointy Head for that?
Yes, that's gonna be a long meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If John,
Damn! Okay. I
I'd
just
like to
want-
be out of town, no.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I can't make it even if there was another item on the agenda, so I want to be
Yeah.
excused
We'll
now
make sure
for the
John
whole
doesn't put
thing.
another item on the
Okay,
agenda that
just
night.
FYI,
Yeah,
that's all.
okay, good. Anything else? People, I'm curious, did somebody want to say anything, or why are you here?
I'm just curious to get the flavor of the, zoning committee with, there might be mention of a light commercial wedding venue,
That was brought up at our last meeting, but there's no application that's been filed, so, so until there's an application, we have nothing to do with it. Goes to, application goes to John. He looks it over and sends it to us.
Well, no, unless there's a,
What's that?
we really wouldn't know unless you had ownership, right? If there's, has to be an offer, or they have to have ownership of the property before you can really rule on
No.
what's appropriate.
Not necessarily they could be given permission by the owner, more or less, to do that, but I don't think, I don't know. John, what's happening with that? You know more than
I
we,
don't know. I haven't heard.
you haven't heard anything
That was
since
just a
then.
realtor that was getting info, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was the realtor was getting info for a potential buyer,
Hmm.
I believe.
Anyway, if it ever does come before us, there will be a notice planning board meeting, and the agendas are public and that sort of thing. It'd have on there, whatever, I know it's on Columbia Avenue, so you probably see that, so,
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it.
yeah. Or bug John occasionally. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I spoke to the realtor, and she said that she did in fact show the Columbia Ave property to somebody who was interested in using it as a wedding venue, but nobody made any offers.
Yep. Yep. So until it moves along, we have nothing to do with it, if it moves along at all. Okay? Anything else, John? Anything to report? Okay.
Do we move to our next, set our next meeting for September 20?
Yep,
I move that we'll set our next meeting for September 27th at 6 o'clock in the Kelly Room, Town Office.
okay.
I'll
Second.
Motion and second to set the date for next meeting, September 27th, 6 o'clock, right here. Town office, meeting room,
Who's second?
huh?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, well,
We
it
kinda did
kinda
at the same
was a
time.
tie, but
Lawson did.
choose whoever, Beth or Lawson. Okay, so I'll take a vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And it looks like it's just about 6:30. If there's, nobody has anything else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second to adjourn at 6:30 PM. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Okay, unanimous. Thanks, folks.
Also, that comprehensive meeting is October fourth,
Fourth, that's the public,
here,
Workshop thing. It'll be-
Workshop.
here at 6?
No,
No?
3 to, it's a long, it's gonna be continuous, so people can come in and out. It won't be like one meeting.
Okay.
And it's 3 to
3 to 7 or 8,
7, it's, I think 7, yeah.
and there'll be two formal presentations during that time, and there'll be stations to walk around and look at and, share your ideas.
Okay, 3 to 7. Ongoing, okay. Good.
And we can all have cookies.
Oh, and you have cookies, oh, good.
You know, when we planned this before, we were gonna have pizza. Yeah, so,
Oh, cookies.
I think there's money actually to have
I
pizza.
think there's taxes going on.
Yeah, but you can eat cookies.
Well, yeah.
Thanks, look forward to good news about that, it's over.
Yeah, well,
I need some.
we'll see.
see you Thursday.
You need a new roof? I do too, but what's solar, my new roof is gonna do